Measuring your hand shaft is very important when you're repairing a clock or building a new clock. There's two measurements on the hand shaft. There's an overall length. That's important. If you have a lens over, you need enough clearance so the hands do not hit the lens. That's the overall length. The next measurement is the threaded part. That's important because the threaded part is going to come through your clock face material, and you have to have enough room to attach the movement to the clock face material with a hex nut. The other important measurement that goes along with measuring the hand shaft is the length of your minute hand. That's how you measure clock hands, from the mounting hole of the minute hand to the tip. In this case, it's under 5 inches. Therefore, I can use the American-made mini quartz movement line. I don't need to use a high torque motor. I would use a high torque motor if my hands exceeded 5 inches, because then I would need a little extra power to drive those clock hands. So in this case, we're going to use the American-made mini quartz. If I measure this shaft, I got an overall length of 1 inch, and I got about 5/16 of the threaded. Let me put this up here so you can see this. When I measured this part, that's about 5/16. So this motor will not work. You can't have a motor that's too short. Put that in there. Because see, it's too short. There's no way I can affix it and use my hex nut to tighten it down. So I'm going to have to go up one size higher. And in that case, I'm going to use the MVT 7290A. It has an overall length of 1.25 inches, but more importantly, the threaded part is 5/16 of an inch. So you see, that has plenty of room. Now, if I was fine with that look, I could just leave it like that, put my rubber washer on, and put the rest of the hardware on. But if I wanted to get that a little closer so it would be more cosmetic, I could go to the hardware store, buy a couple washers. Throw a couple washers on this. That'll shim that back a little bit. So let's take a look at how that worked here. Put that in there. Look at that. That is about 1/8 of an inch. Your next part on here is the brass washer, and then the hex nut. And then just get the hex nut sitting on there the right way. Then you can, if you just do it hand tight, you're perfect. You don't want to over tighten that because you can damage the movement. So I just typically do it hands tight. Looks very good. So the important step is to measure your hand shaft. You have two measurements, the overall length if you have a lens, but you certainly have to measure the threaded part so you have enough to secure your nut. And if it's too large and you want a more flush look with the threaded part, just go and get yourself some washers and shim it back.